Hey, ladies. I am trying to position myself. Oh, look, I got lipstick. Sorry, it's on the other side. Sorry, I had lipstick on my teeth. I know if you guys were here with me, you would have told me because you all are so amazing, right? So today I'm getting started with another video. I'm back on my horse, y'all. I've been gone for a while. So busy. I'm still very busy, but I miss putting these videos out. I decided to do them as live. Still haven't figured out my little YouTube situation. But yeah, I'm still able to put the lives out. So let's get right to it. Today, I want to talk about why women choose to give birth naturally. I was online today and I saw some information online about why women choose to give birth naturally. And just in the line of work that I'm in, I'm a doula, as you all know. I hear all kinds of things, right? I hear women saying, I don't want to have a natural birth. I want an epidural. I want, all of the things. Whatever it is there is to give it to me because I want to get this baby out as quickly and as safely as possible. I've heard that. I've also heard I want nothing at all. I want to just be left in my room, maybe a few checks here and there from my staff, and I just want to try to, birth my baby. Then there are some women that want a combination of the two. And honestly, I just want to get into why women would choose to birth naturally. And I found some really interesting responses on this topic. So I'm super excited. I'm sure you guys can tell I'm smiling like crazy right now. Um, so towards the end of this video, please hang in there with me, like, subscribe, share with your friends and family. And yeah, hang in there and you guys will get to hear my idea and my opinion about it all, having heard so many different stories, been to so many different births, been, a part of this birth thing since I was young. And I just have an interesting, I think, perspective on it. So if you hang in there to the end of this video, you will get to hear and find out what that perspective is. So let's get started. Um, so yeah, let's talk about the different options first. I want to start there, just because I love education. I love education. That's what this video is. It's entertainment, but it's primarily about us learning and growing, right? So a couple of the options for a woman that is getting ready to have a baby, right? There are quite a few options. One is to have your baby in hospital. This is what the majority of women choose. This is what the majority of my clients choose to do. And I fully support them in that decision. And within the hospital, you can have a myriad of options of how women choose to birth, in within the hospital. So just because you're going to the hospital doesn't necessarily mean that you are, going to forego everything and just go in and go all in with it. It doesn't mean that. A lot of women have birth plans that include many different things, right? Now, of course, if you are in the hospital, then you know that with being in the hospital, right, there is, the safety of you and the safety of the baby, right? So that becomes a thing for sure in a hospital, because we know that hospitals are going to do one thing. If they're going to do one thing, they're going to work on keeping us safe, making sure that baby's okay, making sure that mom's okay and mom's good. So we know that. So if you go to the hospital, most women want to go to the hospital because they feel the safest there. I know some people might not like to hear that. They probably don't want me saying that. But one thing I'm going to do on this channel is keep it real. Okay. I've talked to a lot of moms, and at the end of the day, their concern is a healthy baby, a healthy mama. And that's what they want. And this is why they choose the hospital. Like it or love it, don't like it, it's the truth. I'm sorry. And so they choose the hospital. That's why they want to be in the hospital, because of the security and the safety of the hospital. Whoever's mad at me for that, it's okay. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. We'll make it through this. The next thing is the birth center. And every woman is different. Some women want the birth center. Some women are going for nurse midwives, right? So you have your midwife, you have the birth center or a birth clinic or whatever you want to call it. And that's where a lot of women are going. And I think we're seeing a lot of that in social media. You see the women, they're in the birth center, they're in the birth tub, whatever the case may be. So we've seen a lot of that from social media. One thing about social media, it's going to give us everything. We get the bird's eye view with social media. And so we get to see a lot of things that we wouldn't, I don't think, ordinarily see if we did not have social media. So that's the one thing about the birth community is social media has opened that thing up for good and bad. Okay. So another thing is you can do a combination care. Okay. So combination care is where you have your OB, which is your obstetrician. This is a physician. This is a medical doctor who specializes in basically babies, okay? Women and babies. And so this is a physician, meaning this is an MD. This is a real doctor, right? Some of these doctors have practices where they have nurse practitioners and they work together. So they do what they call like a combination care. If you are fortunate enough to have this kind of situation, I think it is amazing. I've had clients that have that combo and it works beautifully. I think to me, it's one of my favorite. So if you are currently looking now, like look into that, like research that and see if that's something that you like. Really, 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 really wonderful option. I think if I were having a baby today, that would be probably the option that I would go with. But it depends on your situation. You have to make the decision that's best for you. And it's good to talk to your doctor and find out what your doctor thinks about what might be a good way for you to go, because they know your medical history. They know the kind of care you're going to need, that kind of thing. So it's good to kind of work with your team to find out what could possibly be the good option for you. At the end of the day, I think that mothers will make the best decision for them. I trust that mothers will do that. And, we give you guys space to make the best decision for you and your baby, because at the end of the day, it is your choice, right? So that's another option. And then so the largest number of women will go to the hospital to have baby. Then I think the next group will probably maybe do a birth center, but the great majority of women, it's very, very high, guys. I can't quote you the number, but it's really high. Almost all of us go to the hospital. We really, really do trust the hospital. Okay. Again, I'm saying that because I've gotten beat up. I've gotten beat up before for making that statement, but it's true. The majority of women have their babies in hospitals. And then, some have them at birth centers, and then you have some mothers who have babies at home. And sometimes this is frowned upon as well. Again, I'm not giving this is not any medical advice. This is not advice on how you or where you should have your baby. That is a decision between you and your medical staff. I am a doula. I'm telling you where I see women have babies. That's what this video is. It is not me saying, hey, you should have your baby here or there. That is a decision that sits squarely with you, your family, your medical providers. Okay. I can't give you any medical advice. This is for entertainment and education purposes only. But yeah, so hospitals, birth centers, some women have their babies at home. Again, that's a whole nother can of worms. You need to check with your legal, and it's a deal, right? It's not just, you just do this thing and that's how it happens. Talk to your doctor, talk to the people that you really trust and that you're working with to find out what is possibly the best thing for you to do. That's not what this video is about. This video is just presenting where people have babies. Okay. And I think that's about it. I'm sure you guys can leave in the comments if you know of other arrangements where women are having babies. I have not attended any births outside of those places, so I don't know, but I'm always open to learning and education. So if you guys, want to enlighten me, please go ahead. By all means, I am very open to be corrected. So yeah, I'd love to hear about, some other different options, maybe in other countries where they do things a little bit different. I would love to hear about those stories. So yeah, so basically those are some of the options that I know of. I live in the US, by the way, for those who don't know, and that's primarily where we give birth here. So With that being said, there is a lot of emotion connected to giving birth, the decisions various moms make. As women, we have a lot of emotion connected to our choices. And so we can feel very strongly about our choices, and we can even feel very strongly about the choices of others, which I think is really interesting. But yeah, so let me get to some of the comments. So I did see some interesting things, and I want to talk about it a little bit. And one of the reasons is to kind of give you guys an idea of just how different we all are. And when I say different, I mean why. Asked, need advice. When I was absolutely set on a hospital birth, I wanted an epidural, all the interventions, everything. Now, and I'm sure a lot of women want to know this. Why on earth would somebody want to have a baby? Because we think of childbirth. I won't say we know, because every woman's experience is different. But as women, we think of childbirth as one of the most painful experiences of our lives. That's what we're told. That's what we see on TV. What do we see when we see someone giving birth on television? They're screaming their head off usually. It just doesn't look pleasant, right? And so we just want to know, like, why would someone want to go through that intensity of discomfort when they have an option not to, right? So that's why I needed it. So as you can see there, this is one person, of course, but this person, like, I mean, it was sort of a walk in the park. I really didn't need anything. So that was her experience, right? And we can't really take that from her, because one of the things about pain is it is individual as well. All of us have different, thresholds for discomfort, for pain, for what we experience as pain, as we do with anything else in life. And so it's going to be different. Our responses are going to be different. How we feel about this is going to be different. The next person wrote, when people ask me why I'd want an unmedicated birth, I equate it to people who run ultra marathons or long distance through hikes. Why does anyone do a feat of that nature? Radical self-reliance to prove that you can, because you like type 2 fun. It can be any number of things and more. Okay, so this one was particularly interesting because I used to be a runner. I still run, but not like I used to. I used to be a runner, and I can relate to that type 2 fun, right? Um, she talked about type 2 fun. I think it's a certain personality as well that plays into that. My personality is one where if I go and I work out, or if I run, or if I do something and I don't feel it was intense enough, it almost feels as if I didn't do anything. I also have a very high pain threshold, right? I'm one of those people that can hurt myself and then not realize it until later. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm hurt. Like, why is his finger hanging off? Type of thing. Oh my God, my finger's hanging off. We're all different, right? So I need a little bit more to feel alive, if that makes any sense. So yes, I used to be that person that would run a marathon or run a bunch of races, or that kind of thing. Again, I could kind of relate to this person saying, you know, it's just like somebody who would do an ultra marathon. Why would you run an ultra marathon? Why would a person run 26.2 miles? Like, who does that? Why would you wake up one day and decide you're going to run that long and that hard? You know it's painful, right? But it's mind over matter at a certain point. So we're all different. Let's see. Someone else wrote, I tried it both ways. My first baby, 14 years ago, I had an epidural. I did not like the restrictions to the bed, nor having to labor on my back. It was a much more clinical experience. My second, I went natural. It was bliss. I danced around, I moved, I ate fruit, self-hydrated. I use a birthing ball. I was able to guide myself along with my partner and doula rather than feel rushed. She put something else in there, but I don't want to read that because my channel is not about slamming anyone. I don't want doulas to be slammed, so I'm not going to slam anybody. So I don't want to repeat that. I'm going to skip over it because she kind of was naming someone there, and I don't want that here. And I still did in a hospital just to be safe. Again, there we go. So this is a big thing, and I hear this a lot over and over. I do want to have a natural birth. The word natural, it needs to be more clearly defined because it means different things for so many different people. I found that out as well. That's something that I discovered. Um, because just because you're going to the hospital doesn't mean you're not having a natural birth. Birth is natural in and of itself. It's kind of like saying, I'm going to go to the bathroom and do a number two. I don't want to do it naturally. Like, that doesn't make sense. That whole process is natural. But I get what they're saying. I get what's trying to be said here. But I think we maybe can find a better way to define natural. Just, I don't know. The detail person in me is bothered a little bit by that. For my final birth in about 2 months, I will be repeating the natural birth. There, that word is again. What does that even mean? The birthing high was a blissful feeling that carried me through postpartum. My second baby was more alert and latched immediately, and the recovery time of my body during my postpartum was quick and easy in comparison to my first birth. But let me be clear, in every birthing plan, I leave space for me to change my mind. Delivering babies safely is most important. And I think this is how the vast majority of moms feel. At least this is what I hear. They want a safe birth. Natural birth is no walk in the park and needs to be prepared for psychologically and physically in advance. It hurts like no other, but once you're past it, you're past it. I really like that because she kind of gave us a balanced view, give or take here or there. She put some stuff in there that I may not have added, but give or take, she gave us a sort of balanced view of her first birth experience versus her second birthing experience. And I liked how she kind of went through and was like, okay, this is what happened this time, this is what happened that time, and then determine which one she enjoyed the most. And there are some women that have multiple babies and they will first decide, oh, I'm going to do it one way. Oh, you know what? Let me try this. And sometimes they do have a preference after experiencing it both ways. But it's interesting because every birth is so different. Even with the same woman, your births will be so different. So how do you quantitate that? Like, how do you determine, all of the different variables? This is what makes births so magical, but also very sacred. It's so sacred. It's very, very sacred. And so, yeah, I just thought that was wonderful. I really kind of just wanted to talk about some of these things because it really mirrors what I hear a lot. And comments and tell me how you felt about it. I think every mom should have their choice. They should choose. Of all of this is the most important thing, is that the woman who is giving birth gets to choose how she wants to do it. I think that's the most important thing. And that she feels confident in her choice, she feels safe, and she's happy with the choice she's made. So I don't think us saying, oh, I can't believe, why would a woman want to have a natural birth? It's like saying, why would somebody want to do one thing versus another? Because we're all different. And that's what makes us beautiful, is that we're all different. We have different preferences. We have different pain tolerances. I'm a machine. So having, a birth without pain medicine, and I don't know this to be the truth, right? Because I haven't done this. But I could see me wanting to do it, right? Doing it is a whole nother thing, right? But I could see me wanting to do it because that's kind of my personality. I enjoy a challenge. I like to be challenged both mentally and physically. So I can definitely see me doing that. I'm also a bit crunchy in the sense that I like the whole holistic thing. You guys know I'm into herbs, I'm into the natural thing. I kind of like the idea of doing the natural thing. Now, I'm going to say this. We talked earlier about the combination care where you have an OB and you have a midwife. I really love that, right? Um, as well, because if the hospital is needed, by God, I definitely want to have it available to me. Okay. And that is just me. I'm sorry. It is just me. I love a good adventure. Again, I will tell you guys, one year I think I ran like 76 races. That's a lot of races for one person. And I was racking up medals like a crazy woman. And I wasn't very young either at this time. I wasn't a spring chicken, but I was doing that. And it seemed like the more races ran, the more I wanted to run. And I was a part of a runners group, and we were a group of women that just loved intensity. And we got up at 4 o'clock in the morning and we would run intervals around a mall. Okay. We weren't playing. We were trying to come home with what we're coming home with. Okay. And this was, again, this wasn't high school. I was a full on adult doing this. But that was just something that I enjoyed doing. A lot of it was like charity stuff for different Susan G. Komen and Alzheimer's and St. Jude and you name it. And I loved it. It was some of the best time of my life. But again, I think this is a personality thing, right? It is something that I like to do. And I can find myself doing that in various areas of my life. I enjoy intensity, specific kind of intensity. I'm not a big risk taker. I like calculated risk, but I'm not a big risk taker. So it's not even about adrenaline. I'm not an adrenaline junkie. I wouldn't do the weird things like jumping out of an airplane, or I'm not into that kind of thing. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about intensity, not craziness. So again, I would probably make the choice. I would probably be that would want a natural birth, natural, without any sort of medication in terms of like pain help. Um, let's see. There was something else that she hit on, and I wanted to go into it, but I forgot what it was. So let me take a look again. Oh, one other person. And this is another person that I could, okay, so this is going to clarify for you guys right here. This is another person that I could identify with. This person wrote, personally, I was interested to see if I could do it without an epidural. I'm also not a big fan of feeling trapped in my body. So the idea of feeling paralyzed and unable to move around sounded like that would make me a bit anxious, which is the opposite of how you want to feel to allow your body to open up, labor to progress. For me, I actually did want to be in a hospital because I wanted to have access to emergency care as soon as possible if something went wrong. For me, knowing I could call for an epidural at any minute allowed me to feel safe and able to try to tackle the pain without one. I also could walk around and sit in the shower, etc. for my whole labor, which helped me mentally not feel trapped in the pain or uncomfortable in the feelings. I like a bit of safety with it as well. And that's those two things kind of seem like they're opposite, but they're really not. This is what calculated risk is about. And to me, the hospital is it. You know, you're gonna have this baby. There's so many things that are outside of your control, right? So you try to get as much as you can within your control. And this is something I talk about a lot with my clients is the idea of surrender, but also gathering up. In the birth planning process, there's a lot of that happening. And that's really important in the birth planning is that now you're trying to get the things that you can get under control before you're in the throes of labor, and then surrendering to the process afterwards. So I really like how she talked about, you know, having that security blanket, yet at the same time, let me see if I can do this thing. Let me see if I'm able to handle more than I would ordinarily think I'm able to handle. And I can see accomplish that. I'm like, wow, that's where the bliss comes in, right? Some women have described childbirth as, I don't even know if I can say this word, gasmic. Let me just use that, the ending of it, right? I don't know. I don't know about that. But what I do know is that there's a certain feeling that comes with an accomplishment. And people have talked about the runner's high. It's a real thing. It is a real thing. If you never experienced it, it is a real thing. Is there pain involved? Yes. After a marathon, I was literally hopping. Like I was hopping. I had to have somebody help me hop, 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 hop to my car. Like there was pain. I had to check for lost toenails and all of the things, right? You have burns from your clothing rubbing up against your skin afterwards. Like you have pain in places that you never imagined you could hurt. All right. And then you want to do it again in practice, or in training, rather. You're running up to 19 miles. I was eating 19 miles for breakfast. If you're a runner, if you're a long distance runner, you know what I'm talking about. I was eating that for breakfast, meaning that I would wake up, do that at 4 a.m., go home, shower, get dressed, and then go to work, and work like nothing happened earlier today. So there is pain involved, but there's also a wonderful feeling involved. And I think that that's where I can kind of relate to what she's saying. So again, this is what's so beautiful and amazing about birth. And isn't it wonderful that we do have the technology, all the things that we have to carry us through if we need it, right? Like she talked about wanting to have that security that, hey, if I need help, I'm so glad that it's right here and it's available to me. You know, praise God. Thank God that we live in a world where we as women, we have a choice. We can choose to have a birth without medication. We can choose to have a birth with it. We can say, perhaps I don't want any pain medication. And then in the middle of it, say, you know what, on second thought, this is not as all what I thought it was going to be like. I think I will have my epidural now. Thank you very much. And that's beautiful. I think that's the beauty of it. And I don't think any woman should be denied that. I don't think we should be held to any idea that is unrealistic for us. If you had a natural birth and you didn't need any medicine or want any, more power to you, bless your heart. But there are other women who want it and they deserve to get it if that's what they want. Every woman deserves to have the type of birth that she wanted. And this is where I'm going to end this video. I believe very emphatically, because my video is getting long, it's almost 30 minutes, that every woman should have the right to choose. It doesn't matter what we think about it. It is this woman's choice, and that's the beauty of it. Every woman should have the right to choose whether or not she wants to have an epidural or she does not want to have an epidural. And I think that as a woman, we should be in full support of other women making that choice without guilting them, without making them feel like they're less than or any of those things, right? So that is it, guys. I really enjoyed exploring this topic, and I am thankful for the people who wrote about it and were open and honest and expressed their feelings. And I would love to hear what you guys think. Please leave comments telling me what you think. I think there's a chat here. I don't even know if you guys can leave comments. Perhaps you can leave comments on this video. I just haven't figured out this YouTube thing yet. It's a bit embarrassing, but it is what it is, guys. If you can leave a comment. If you can't, leave a chat or whatever it is. I don't know. That is all for today, guys. I am MJ. I am a doula. I am the main doula at Angela Maternity Services. If you're interested in my doula services, please leave a message for me. I will get in touch with you and I will see if I can help you. I hope you guys enjoyed this as much as I did. I will see you guys on my next video. Bye.